Tzu Chi Philippines Chapter hosts a free clinic in Davao City with the help of TIMA doctors from Taiwan and Malaysia. For the upcoming winter aid distribution in China, volunteers in Fujian visit their care recipients to further understand their needs. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Marilee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. On November 4th through the 6th, a 3-day free clinic was held in Davao City of the Philippines. TIMA doctors from 7 different parts of the Philippines, as well as doctors from Taiwan and Malaysia, all gathered in Davao to help the poor. Tzu Chi's free clinic in Davao City of the Philippines has brought a ray of hope to the sick and suffering.
This patient has an 8-centimeter lipoma. It's pretty big. We thought she might be scared of the surgery. However, afterward, the surgeon asked her if she was scared. She plainly said no. She was rather grateful and glad to have received the surgery.
No matter if it's sickness stemming from poverty or poverty due to prolonged illness, many of the patients suffer from multiple medical issues.
Some of these patients have endured the pain for some 10 years. Although these are minor surgeries, I believe it's quite influential on their life. And it's because they don't have money for such a surgery that they have left it for so long.
The patient I helped was also suffering from cranial lipoma. It was not an easy surgery because it was quite hard and stuck on the bone.
Some are pretty complicated, including skin cancer or the deeper neuroendocrine tumors. Thankfully, we can use local anesthesia to complete these surgical procedures.
At the conclusion of this free clinic, of course, we will discover many patients' cases that we need to look into and bring to the hospital for further treatment.
With the help of doctors from Taiwan, Malaysia, and the Philippines, 143 doctors carried out their medical mission and helped patients in need with kindness and compassion. Continuing our reports of the 215th free clinic in the Philippines, we take a look at some of the cases from the first day of the free clinic, where 6 different medical departments were offered. Early in the morning on the streets of Davao City, residents are lined up waiting to attend the 215th Tzu Chi Philippines free clinic. Approximately 30% of the Filipino population lives below the poverty line, earning about $1 a day. Knowing that many poor people don't have the extra money to seek medical assistance, local volunteers in conjunction with Malaysian and Taiwanese TIMA members hosted a large-scale 3-day free clinic in Davao City to help.
Actually, most of these patients' illnesses are related to their surroundings. Their sickness has compounded over time, with many not having the time nor the opportunity to go see doctors in the city.
A patient's income, for instance, if it's 300 pesos, that 300 pesos need to feed a family of 5. So to go to the dentist to have teeth pulled or a cavity filled is too expensive for them.
At the clinic, there are 60 dentists helping to safeguard local residents' health. Other medical services offered include pediatrics, ophthalmology, and acupuncture. An estimated 5,000 patients will be served.
Salamat yun ko kay sus higayon na gud ni libre kay ang sakit ko matagal na hindi ko makapagamot dahil wala akong pera.
In the past year, my knee has been hurting about 3 times a day to the point where I can't walk or stand. I'm so grateful that doctor has treated me. It doesn't hurt now and I can walk.
Seeing local residents' ailments alleviated, the medical team and volunteers gain a sense of accomplishment that makes the tiring day of work very worthwhile. Staying with TIMA free clinics, but in Malaysia, Tzu Chi held the 7th large-scale free clinic in Samparinda, Sabah this year. The free clinic involved over 400 medical volunteers and even 75 vehicles, as it took over 3 hours by car to reach Samparinda from Kota Kinabalu. Let's take a look.
People living in mountainous areas typically don't have access to enough medical resources. Therefore, TIMA members from 5 Malaysian states went to hold a free clinic for people in Samparinda. TIMA members and Tzu Chi volunteers travel on 75 buses and 4-wheel vehicles for 3 hours to reach Samparinda.
Kota Marudu is quite big. It has 166 villages with over 70,000 people. The villages are scattered across the mountain.
The free clinic is held at a local school. TIMA provides 10 medical departments so poor, sick people in the mountain can receive proper treatment. It was Omar Kwan, an official with the Health Bureau, who made this free clinic possible in Samparinda.
In Kota Marudu, Samparinda, we have a lot of people.
In Samparinda, Kota Marudu, we have a lot of people who don't have cars or motorbikes to take them to cities to see doctors. So by cooperating with Tzu Chi to have a clinic here, we can give them as much medical help as possible.
We can give them as much medical coverage as possible.
In addition to the free clinic at the school, TIMA also has 6 medical stations to provide home visitations for people who cannot leave their homes. The language barrier is also a major test for these medical teams.
我们有遇到的就是说，对一些药物我们要跟他解释的。
When we explain the medicine, we try to use their local language. Even though they don't understand, they will still nod and say they understand. So we must be quite careful to make sure that they really understand.
特别用心的就是说，要确认他懂这件事情。
The free clinic started at 8 in the morning. At the end of the day, over 2,300 people were treated. Tzu Chi volunteers and TIMA members work diligently to protect the health of these people living in remote mountain areas.
During the free clinic in Samparinda, the medical professionals also visited patients' homes to teach them proper medical knowledge. For one visit, TIMA members went to the home of 10-year-old Edison, who has a deformed spinal cord, to build a handrail for him.
Edison is 10 years old, but he still can walk. As there is a Tzu Chi free clinic, the doctor will try to find out the cause of his problem.
便找一个东西，他都能够可以移动，他可以自己救他自己，对，不需要别人帮忙。
The kid's spinal cord has been having problems since he was born. We have no money to get him treated. We hope Tzu Chi volunteers can find a walker for him so he can walk, because he is older now. After hearing the father's request, volunteers and TIMA members went to this family to help the boy. The volunteers also built a handrail for him.
We want the boy to use the handrail to walk around. He shouldn't keep crawling because it's bad for the knees. Don't let him crawl when he's at home. You should encourage him to walk.
In this poor village, many natives don't have money to see a doctor. 66-year-old Suriname is blind. There is much phlegm in her windpipe, but she can't cough out all of them. With teaching from the TIMA members, she can finally cough it out. It's a relief for her. In this stilt house, Joda once thought both of his legs were paralyzed after an accident. With guidance from TIMA members, he can stand up again. People living in the mountain do not have correct medical knowledge. So TIMA members spend a lot of time explaining to them what is right or wrong. It is not easy, but they enjoy doing it.
As a volunteer, yes, I mean, you let us see the wider spectrum of people, you know, and we become more humble, you know, and and we have more humility, you know, to understand about people.
TIMA members visited 13 families in today's home visitations. TIMA will do their best to provide the best medical services for people in remote areas.
Tzu Chi volunteers in泉州of Fujian, China, recently conducted home visitations before the upcoming winter aid distribution in Anxi County. One person they saw was 48-year-old Gao Qing-song, who had both of his legs amputated in 2006. Despite his difficulties in life, Mr. Gao has been staying positive, using a wheelchair and electric scooter to get around, even visiting houses in their neighborhood to repair electrical appliances to earn a bit of money.
This is Mr. Gao Qing-song, an amputee who gets around on his three-wheeled scooter. Coming to a stop, he easily hops into a wheelchair. The first time volunteers met 48-year-old Mr. Gao was at a village cadre meeting, where they developed a fast friendship. Mr. Gao asks volunteers to check out a basket that he proudly made himself. Mr. Gao's curiosity and his need for a bit of income led him to take up the occasional job as an appliance repairman.
I take them apart myself to practice repairing them.
With a heavy heart, he tells volunteers about his life's struggles. When he was 16 years old, a high fever made him lose feeling in his legs. From that time, he spent 22 years in a bed, dealing with bed sores and maggots, living in a deplorable condition.
If I didn't have my mother, I don't know where I would go.
In 2006, he persuaded his family to have his legs amputated. It was the beginning of a new life for Mr. Gao, and he is still thankful to his 83-year-old mother for all she has done for him. Before their upcoming winter aid distribution activities, volunteers are visiting disadvantaged households and residents like Mr. Gao in Huqiu Township and Xiping Township of Quanzhou, Fujian, China. By making these home visits, volunteers can better understand the needs of those suffering in these communities.
In our next piece on influential vegetarians, we'll meet Yang惠姍and Zhang Yi, a former actress and film director, respectively, who made the decision long ago to take their lives in a different direction. The couple began learning the craft of glasswork and making glass sculptures of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Over the course of learning the craft, they also became vegetarians, leading them closer to the Dharma.
The film Yu Qing Sao, directed by Zhang Yi and starring Yang惠姍, was a well-received film that received an award at the 29th Asian Film Festival. After her first film in 1975, Yang惠姍began a successful career as an actress.
Why is it that I was able to star in over 100 films in such a short time? I feel like over a very short period, I experienced so many lives and deaths.
In 1986, the actress chose to make a quick retreat from public life to rediscover her own identity. That was when her and her husband established a glass workshop.
在我的年代，我就会非常渴望
I had a strong desire to understand the history and culture of early society, especially the glassworks of the Western Zhou dynasty, and why we weren't familiar with it in Taiwan.
In the ancient past, Chinese society had only the most basic resources to create glass works, which makes their methods even more mysterious.
You have to handle it carefully. You have to get the timing right so that it doesn't stick when you start working it. Of course, that is easier said than done. Back then, my hands were dirty every day.
我还记得我们在
I remember our workshop in Damsui. The environment was incredibly hot and we had so many setbacks. We were never sure of our financial situation and always worrying about the future.
Working in a new and unfamiliar trade, they relied on each other's support. They were determined not to go back from the new life they had begun, and over time perfected their methods through 12 steps. The work they produce takes between 6 and 8 months of careful, painstaking work. Yang also challenged herself to create the beautiful Buddhist images.
We take something from a formless existence and the glass comes out clear all the way through, which is a reflection of impermanence. There is a sense of this in the creative process of our works. The craft itself is like a lesson.
Yang惠姍has spent a long time letting the compassion and wisdom of the Buddha and the Bodhisattva penetrate her spirit, giving her a profound respect for life. And as for Zhang Yi, after many years of suffering high blood pressure, kidney and heart problems, he finally chose to become a vegetarian.
After I began crafting images of the Buddha, by the completion of the first one, I had quit eating beef. And then as I became more focused on my work, I just became more aware and realized the meaning of compassion. And so about 10 years ago, I went completely vegetarian.
10几年前，就开始是完全吃素。
自己回顾自己，总觉得。
When I think back on my life, I think I have been quite a slow person getting around to being the person I should be and being able to really understand gratitude.
能够诸事感恩。
For this couple, a quest to enter the craft of glassmaking led to a process of self-reflection where they both came to realize the true value of life and then chose to become vegetarian.
As a disciple of the Dharma, I give reverence to all Buddhas of the 10 directions. I praise the Dharma, the Buddha, and the Sangha, and give love and blessings to all living beings.
In our next report, we'll meet a Tzu Chi New Shoot Scholarship recipient Chen Kun De from Pingtung, who has chosen to study at a maritime vocational school, hoping to one day find a high-paying marine job to lessen his family's burden.
Working skillfully in the kitchen, Chen Kun De, who's more than 6 feet tall, doesn't seem awkward at all.
As a child, when I watched my mom cook, I thought it was really fun. Later, when I was in 6th grade, I learned to cook from my mom.
小6的时候就开始学，跟妈妈学这样。
Learning to cook as early as when he was in 6th grade, Chen really wanted to lessen his mother's burdens. In addition, Chen helps care for his bedridden grandfather by cooking porridge, bathing, and massaging him. For Chen, who's the eldest child, sharing household chores is one of his important responsibilities. Furthermore, this considerate young man makes sure his mother does not have to worry about his studies.
My son is quite considerate. When he said he wanted to attend Donggang Maritime and Fishery Vocational High School, I worried about the long commute. However, he said it was all right for him. Although the school is a bit far, the curriculum will help him find jobs. They pay well.
比较贫困嘛，想说。
Back in junior high, I heard the teachers say that there's a high demand for maritime professionals and the pay is better. Despite the hard work, the jobs can help me improve my family's living conditions. I can work harder and lessen my mother's burdens so she can enjoy a better quality of life.
帮妈妈减轻负担这样，让妈妈以后可以休息过好生活这样。
Wanting to lessen his mother's burdens, Chen eventually attended a maritime vocational school, which is a 1-hour commute from home. This considerate young man even chose to learn about the operations of ship engines, which prepares him for higher-paying jobs.
以后有钱了就带妈妈回妈妈娘家。
Once I have money, I want to take mom back to her hometown. She is from Guangxi and hasn't returned there for a long time. She's been staying here to care for us. I hope to take her to visit my grandmother and others.
去看看他们，带她去别的地方玩这样。
Chen, who's on the school basketball team, is willing to share household chores and overcome other obstacles for the family, helping them achieve a better quality of life and put smiles on the faces of others, including his loving mother.
Culture can take on many shapes, with performing arts being one of the more important forms. Unfortunately, funding for performing arts groups in Taiwan is very hard to obtain, but some of these groups thrive despite financial challenges as they remain committed to their art. One such group is the Formosa Circus Art, which is actually a theater troupe that uses acrobatics to transform old circus traditions.
All kinds of cleaning supplies, canned food, and household items are being used as stage props.
At the traditional circus, you will see all kinds of sticks and bowls, though we are using daily cleaning supplies, which is stuck on the bodies of our performers.
This is Boca, Formosa Circus Art's latest performance. Despite Typhoon Maggie raging outside, everyone came to the theater braving the wind and rain for this rehearsal as part of the Taipei Arts Festival.
现在这样看起来很稳，你们走开来看看，这样看起来很好啊。
这一次的台北艺术节的一瞬之光啊。
With the attention brought by the Taipei Arts Festival, I hope our actors and stunt performers are able to express themselves with only their body.
靠物件来讲话。
Formosa Circus Arts has been in operation for 6 years with 15 members having an average age of 24, with all being graduates of theater departments. Many of the team members have been performing for 15 or 20 years, but here they are starting from scratch.
There's quite a lot to learn here, including special skills of tumbling, which we all have to learn, meaning that much of this had to be learned from scratch.
He may be able to juggle, but this doesn't mean he can do hip-hop dance or tumbling. So in our group, we need everyone to mentor everyone else.
Cross-border influences have helped inject new elements into their stage performance. Voca director Lin Zhiwei attended National Taiwan College of Performing Arts, where his specialty was juggling, later forming a college group and performing everywhere, as he wanted to bring Taiwan's circus tradition to an international stage.
Circus Arts. Haut rein, Jungs.
In recent years, the group has been invited to perform at France's Avignon Festival, Canada's Asia-Pacific Arts Festival, as well as performance around Edinburgh, Scotland. But in Taiwan, all their performances lose money.
希望说，大家也多多给 Voca 这个作品多一些空间，然后多多的来报道。
This year, at the opening press conference for Voca's performance at the Taipei Arts Festival, only 2 electronic media reporters were in attendance. Such theater performances in Taiwan aren't taken very seriously, thus it's hard for them to be self-sufficient, as well as getting subsidies or corporate sponsorship.
In fact, throughout the performing arts circle, there's not one group that is not short of money. This is quite a common situation in Taiwan.
There are many new circus acts which are independent. Small and medium-sized groups put more emphasis upon art, as the public sector is willing to support these performances, giving them more exposure.
The best way for these groups to gain exposure is through performances, though raising a group is not that easy. In fact, many of the commercial cases Voca receives go towards funding future performances.
We have the skills, and in fact, many people would be difficult to replace. Our members are all quite young and do not admit defeat. We need acrobats and those that can perform in the air.
To mount a theater performance, Lin Zhiwei has to apply for funding, though grant applications as well as an online fundraising platform and even mortgaging his house to pay for funding.
We are trying to rely on commercial performances to sustain our dream of working in the arts, even taking us further to international audiences.
I think we shouldn't lose sight of culture and creativity, as it continues to be very important. We can't just go with tradition, as we need to innovate and try new things, and move towards specialization rather than relying on older traditions.
As the recent Overseas Volunteers Training Camp ended, some dozen volunteers from both Jordan and Australia paid a visit to the recycling center in Neihu. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time.